Welcome to our channel. We continue to share with you secret information about table tennis rubbers. Today's topic is the difference between medium pips and long pips. By the way, if you've been watching us for a while and love our channel, feel free to give us a like. In preparing this video, Alexei Sipachevsky also took part. So here, both my experience and his are presented. It so happened that I had the opportunity to play with a significant number of long pips and medium pips on various sponge types. Sipachevsky, on the other hand, started playing and testing much earlier than me, so he had the chance to play with even more of these goodies. Although it's probably wrong to call pips goodies. Many players would agree with me that pips should be called evil. So, we decided to prepare a small encyclopedia for you on the differences between the long evil and the medium evil. Because many users of long pips are interested in medium pips. And vice versa. I won't talk about complex formulas and the chemical composition of the rubber. Let's talk about which pips are better suited for which type of game, what properties they have, and how they differ from each other. If you are already a very experienced user of medium and long pips, this video is probably not for you. You can go ahead and enjoy a beer or practice your chops with the pips. And this video is for those who are yet to learn and master long and medium pips. It will also help you determine which ones to try for different purposes. And while I'm telling it, please subscribe to our channel quickly until someone gets ahead of you. If you are a relatively weak player or, in other words, a beginner, here's a secret tip for you: use long pips. With long pips, you will have more opportunities to stand near the table, do nothing, and score points. Some other weak players will self-destruct against your pips. I'm just kidding, of course. But on the other hand, I'm speaking quite reasonably because such a scenario often happens among players of a low level. The thing is, it's actually not difficult to beat long pips players. But under certain conditions. For example, you need to use tactical thinking. And many tennis players don't like doing that. And if you play against long pips without using your head, usually nothing good comes out of it. You also need to stay calm and be patient. And again, many people don't like doing that, and they prefer to blame other players' pips for their mistakes. But it is too hard for some lazy players. They prefer to blame other people's pimples for everything. And pimples should be banned, and so on. In general, for many players, this situation boils down to the fact that they don't know how to play against pimples. And they do not want to study. And because of that, pips players constantly punish them. Although in reality, there's nothing difficult about playing against pimples. I used to be a player in the first category, and then I switched to the second one. I love playing against pimples now. But pips players shouldn't lose heart. I myself am a long pips player, and I enjoy hitting other pips players. You just need to use your head when playing with pimples and when playing against pips players. And at a lower level, pimples allow you to beat many people with less training time. That is, they allow you to achieve higher efficiency in the game. But keep in mind that to move to a higher level, you definitely need to learn how to play smart. Even if you put on long pimples, you need to learn how to play with them in different ways, with the second rubber, and skillfully alternate between them. So, medium pimples and long pimples. What's the difference, how to prepare them, and what are they used for? When I first started playing, it turned out that my first racket had medium pimples. I mean, on my first quality racket. And before that, I had several ready-made rackets from regular sports stores. They were much worse than my first professional racket. Those were racket dummies. Although they charged real money for them. But finally, I bought a relatively inexpensive professional racket with medium pimples. And they were quite good, considering that they were cheap. And my first replacement rubber was replacing medium pimples with long pips. At that time, I enjoyed playing with long pimples more. By the way, I was also lucky with them. They were Chinese Inhe Neptune with a sponge of 0.7 millimeters. A very successful model of pimples, although very cheap. And it is still being produced to this day, and as far as I know, it is still popular. By the way, we made a review of it, you can find it under this video. And then I switched to anti-spin. And then I played with medium pimples again for a long time. And at the moment I have been playing with long pimples without a sponge for a long time. What can I tell you guys? It's interesting to play with medium pimples. It's also interesting to play with long pimples. You should use these rubbers for different playing styles. But let's first discuss the physical aspects. If we put two rubbers side by side, we can see that long pips are thinner. As for the length, I can't say for sure. The length of the pips can be the same or longer for long pips. In most cases, the visual difference looks like what is currently on the screen. And as a result, we have the second difference: the contact area with the ball is different for them. The contact between the rubber and the ball is usually stronger for medium pips than for long pips. And this, in turn, affects the ability of the rubber to create spin and react to incoming spin. Someone might say, "No, I disagree. The width of the pips doesn't differ much, and for some medium pips, the width can be the same as that of long pips." And considering the difference in physical friction between different models of pips, it is possible that long pips have stronger friction than medium pips. And I would agree, but there is a nuance. When a ball with spin comes, the long pips bend and the contact with the ball is partially made not by the flat surface of the pips, but by the corner of the pips. They can bend to different degrees. Firstly, it depends on the strength of the stroke. The stronger the stroke, the more they can bend. Secondly, it depends on the properties of the pips. The softer the rubber, the easier it is for the pips to bend. And the geometry of the pips also matters. If the pips are thinner, it is easier for them to bend. If the pips are longer, it is easier for them to bend. In short, long pips generally react less to incoming spin and generate less spin themselves than medium pips. I emphasize once again that it is on average, because the properties of the rubber can be such that long pips grip stronger than medium pips. For example, the Chinese Inhe Neptune pips with sponge, which I mentioned earlier, belong to the category of high friction pips. And the German medium pips Dr. Neubauer KO grip very weakly, noticeably weaker than Neptune. By the way, both of these rubbers belong to the category of very successful products, so I recommend them for use. Next, long pips can be used with sponge or without sponge. Many pips players play without sponge. And it's quite fascinating. I don't have statistics on the use of long pips worldwide, but rough observations show that about half of the players play with long pips without a sponge. By the way, maybe many people don't know this, but you can even do topspin with long pips without a sponge. I understand that this sounds shocking to many, but it's true. We have already made a separate video on this topic with a demonstration. You can watch it on the link under this video. You can also play with medium pips without a sponge. From the point of view of table tennis rules, there are no obstacles. You can play with any pips without a sponge. Only inverted and anti-spin rubbers cannot be played without a sponge. Medium pips without a sponge are much less common than long pips. The majority of players who use medium pips play with a sponge. Personally, I have tried playing without a sponge and even attempted it in a commercial tournament where you win money for victory and only receive thanks for defeat. I thought the difference would be small, but in reality, the difference turned out to be very significant. In short, playing with long pips without a sponge is quite comfortable and not difficult. They are popular all over the world. However, playing with medium pips without a sponge is more challenging, and it didn't suit my game at all. Although, of course, I tried them very briefly. Nevertheless, some people do play with medium pips without a sponge, just not often. I encountered at least 2 players of decent level using medium pips without a sponge. Take a look at how the player controls them. Just don't say that it's all nonsense and that Ma Long will defeat him. We know that ourselves. This high-skilled guy has been playing with medium pips without a sponge for a long time. So, you can compete with such pips even at a high level. If you're curious about his pips, it's a slow and spinny butterfly orthodox rubber on a fast attacking blade. But in principle, other slow and spinny medium pips will work with roughly the same success. I mean, they will work for a game like his. But weak friction pips and fast pips probably won't work for such a game. However, they might be suitable for some other style of play. Furthermore, medium pips and long pips have differences in terms of sponge. On average, the sponge thickness of long pips is smaller. The most common sponge thickness is from 0.5 to 1 mm, 0.5, 0.6, and 0.7 mm are very common. 0.8 mm is rare. For some reason 0.9 mm either doesn't exist or is a very rare option. And 1 mm is very common. Then there are different thicknesses up to extremely rare 2 mm. Furthermore, medium pips also have sponges ranging from the thinnest 0.5 to 0.6 mm to 2.1 mm. Sometimes even thicker. However, it is difficult to find sponge thicknesses larger than 2.1 mm due to the rules limiting the total rubber thickness to 4 mm. And medium pips usually have a relatively long length, so a thick sponge may not comply with the rules. Therefore, many medium pips have a maximum thickness of 2.0 mm or even slightly thinner. However, if you are not planning to participate in the World Championships or other tournaments with rubber control, you shouldn't be too concerned about these fractions of a millimeter. And if you are planning to participate, make sure that the rubber does not exceed a thickness of 4 mm, otherwise it will not be allowed. But in general, medium pips are usually used with much thicker sponge than long pips. Long pips are most commonly used with a sponge thickness ranging from 0.5 to 1 mm, while medium pips are most commonly used in thicknesses from 1.1 to 1.8 mm. However, we recommend choosing what best suits your game, rather than what is most commonly used. You don't have to worry about popularity, just choose what suits you best. As for the difference in sponge between long pips and medium pips, the materials used are different. Medium pips often have faster and denser sponges, including tensor sponges. Long pips also have these characteristics, but less frequently. Long pips are more likely to have slower and less dense sponges, including sometimes dampening sponges, which are a separate type of sponge. They are very different from regular sponges. In general, it can be said that medium pips are paired with thicker and faster sponges, and sometimes even tensor sponges, similar to attacking pips in rubbers. The rubber of medium pips is also generally faster than that of long pips. Although both medium and long pips can be very slow or very fast. However, very fast long pips have lower speed compared to very fast medium pips. In other words, very fast long pips are considered very fast in terms of long pips, but they are still not very fast compared to medium pips. It can also be said that very slow long pips are common, while very fast long pips are rare. Medium pips are usually made for medium and high-speed play, and very slow medium pips are rarely encountered. As an example of very slow medium pips, we can mention the Giant Dragon 612. This rubber surprises with its difference from the vast majority of other medium pips, and it is very slow. If you are interested in a review of this rubber, you can find the link below the video. In general, because medium pips are generally noticeably faster, the following difference arises. In many cases, medium pips are oriented towards a faster and more attacking game. Although medium pips cannot be called attacking rubbers in general, some of them can be described as such. On average, medium pips are somewhere in the middle. But they have much more attacking capabilities than long pips, especially counter-attacking capabilities. Many of the fast medium pips are surprisingly good for defense, despite their high speed. In other words, they allow for comfortable defensive techniques and easy ball placement on the table, and it all works quite effectively. But one must not forget that like any fast equipment, it only works well with sufficient technique. Beginners should not start learning the game and technique with too fast equipment. With a sufficient level of skill and technique, one can defend with both slow and fast medium pips. The focus should not be solely on speed, but rather on whether the rubber is capable of executing the necessary defensive techniques effectively. Just because some fast medium pips are good for defense doesn't mean all of them are. Long pips, on the other hand, differ from medium pips in that they are oriented towards a slower and more defensive style of play. Even in versions with relatively thick sponge, their speed is generally much lower. This is especially true for the thickest sponge versions, which sometimes have damping properties. Therefore, long pips are suitable for anything but an aggressively attacking style of play. Individual attacks are fine, but specifically playing an attacking style with long pips would be masochistic. However, long pips offer the greatest defensive capabilities among all types of rubbers. In general, the range of available technical techniques for long and medium pips is very similar. However, the significant difference lies in the fact that long pips lean more towards defense. People often ask which zone a particular type of rubber is intended for. In general, both medium and long pips can be used in any zone. It is not uncommon to hear the claim that medium pips are only suitable for playing close to the table. However, those who say so simply forget or are unaware that medium pips can be used for chopping or blocking from a distance. So, if we're talking about an attacking game, then yes, they are only effective up close. Topspin from a far distance doesn't work with pips, but defense from a distance works perfectly. So, they can be used in any zone. By the way, while we're making interesting and useful videos and reviews for you, please visit our TT Maximum store more often for your purchases. It's the best way to show your appreciation for our videos. Next, wear resistance and durability. Thinner and longer pips break faster. Of course, the material from which the rubber is made also plays a significant role. However, this factor cannot be assessed visually, by touch, smell, or any other method besides actual gameplay. In general, the durability of the rubber depends on the durability of the material, as well as the thickness and length of the pips. Therefore, medium pips are generally more durable than long pips. Once again, I emphasize that this comparison is about these classes of rubbers in general. In some cases, it may turn out that certain long pips are more durable than certain medium pips. Now, let's talk about the destructive properties of the pips. People often ask which pips are more destructive, long or medium. And they often think that long pips are more destructive. But it's not such a simple question that can have a simple, unequivocal answer. In my game and based on my impressions, the destructiveness of long pips is generally higher. But this is specifically for my game, and for someone else, it may be the opposite. Let me explain why. On one hand, long pips generally have less grip, which gives them greater reverse spin. And besides reverse spin, other destructive effects of pips are more pronounced. But you have to understand that when playing against medium pips, the opponent has less time to process the ball because it comes faster. Especially when it's very fast medium pips. So, even if other destructive factors are less, the degree of danger for the opponent still remains significant due to the higher speed. Simply because they don't have enough time to analyze what is coming towards them and what to do with it. By the way, if you've watched the video up to this point, then like it please right now. It's beneficial for our channel, and it will be a plus for your karma. In the end, it turns out that for some players, long pips work more destructive for their game, while for others, medium pips work more destructive. So we come to the conclusion that there is no one-size-fits-all recipe for everyone and all situations. Sorry, but magical pills haven't been invented here yet. As soon as they are invented, we will definitely add them to our store and send you a notification. But for now, you need to search and find the rubber that will work better for you personally. And for that, you'll have to try and experiment with your own hands. If someone hopes that they can read and watch many reviews and immediately choose the most effective rubber for themselves once and for all, then alas, it doesn't work that way. I've tried, tested half the store, and still occasionally find something better. Watching good reviews is definitely helpful for narrowing down the range of options. But don't expect that watching or reading will solve all the problems of choosing rubbers and blades and you won't have to do anything else. It's necessary to try with your own hands at least a small amount of different equipment. So, I think you've already finished your tea and coffee, and your head is boiling with an excess of information. So hurry up and try your rubbers, and if you have any questions on this topic, write them in the comments under the video.